Welcome to another episode from Masculinity Uncovered. I am your host, Danielle N. Henry, and we are talking to a variety of people about what masculinity means to them. I have a special guest here, a dear friend of mine that I'm really excited to talk to. He is born and raised here in Nashville. I call him Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? But his real name is Ralph Henry. So I want to introduce to you guys a good dear friend of mine, Ralph Henry. What's going on, Ralphie?
What's going on, Danielle?
I'm so excited that you joined us so we can have an authentic conversation, because you know what we do is we just kind of break down those stereotypes of men, just in general, masculinity, and we want to make sure that we're providing a safe place, and then to try to gain some understanding. So, what's going on, Ralph?
Ain't nothing, just working, maintaining, just doing what I do, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. Family man.
Absolutely.
You know, family doing good.
Absolutely. Everybody's doing well at this time. To God be the glory.
That's right. That's right. Let me just share with everybody how we know each other, because we have had a long journey.
Most definitely.
So initially, I met Ralph, and at the time, she wasn't your wife at the time,
right.
But Kim and your wife Kim now, we met at a venue because she does event planning, and we were there. I was just showing the place a spot, and a mutual friend of mine had shared that. Well, later on, fast forwarding that, I managed group homes for boys in state custody, and when I say I needed some help. And so another mutual friend of ours reached out to you. I think you were wanting some additional work.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? As always,
always
bossing up, right?
All facts.
So we connected there, and we actually formed a working relationship, and then outside of that, you know, it just kind of stemmed from there.
Gotcha.
Talk to me a little bit, Ralph, about masculinity. What does that mean to you, especially when we actually had the opportunity to get with young boys from 16 to 19-year-old and being in that environment? What does it mean? What does it look like to you? And what made you want to come on board during that time?
First, we're going to put it a little bit in rewind. I remember when I first actually met you, it was at a party that I think a good friend of yours, Don Soleil, was throwing. Okay. And that's when I actually laid eyes on you. I felt like, anyway, because you and her looked so much alike, you know, so much of a resemblance. I almost thought you guys were sisters. And when you and I started working at the group home, you brought it back to me like I had actually met you before that, and I didn't remember, so I apologize for that. But working at the group home for me was an opportunity to give back. You know, me being that young man that once upon a time that I felt like it was out of control, you know, wilding out here in these streets. You know, it's just my opportunity to let these young men know that it's more outside just kicking it all the time. You know what I'm saying? The life it's a bigger picture than that. And so to me, I felt like all that ties into masculinity. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to call yourself a man, but in order to be a man, it's a lot of things that come with that title. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
So with that being said, you know, it was an opportunity for me to pick up some extra income, because at that time when I reached out to your friend, Donzalite, who at that time I think she was working at a career place where, you know, she was helping the individuals get jobs, and I had told my wife to reach out to her because I was actually looking for extra, you know, employment. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I still on my grind. Yeah. And when she told me that you was managing a boys group home, I'm like, man, dig that. I said, man, I need that. I said, because to me, at that time, when me just getting back into church and everything, it was all tying in together. Like, you know what I'm saying? God had just put it on my heart. Like, I need to be here trying to help these young men. So they need some type of guidance, because a lot of them probably grew up in a household where they didn't have father figures. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, to me, masculinity means so many different things. If I had to break it down, I just couldn't put it in no one category.
Okay, that sounds good. So let me just ask a question. So during that time when we were there in that house, what are some things that you've seen that from the boys that they had maybe some trauma going on? How did you navigate through that?
Just coming down to their level. You know what I'm saying? In other words, I learned with those young men, they wasn't really trying to have no conversation with you if you hadn't been through some of the same stuff that they had been through. But the fact that a lot of them was talking about, man, I've been in the streets and I was doing this and I had to, make it, and I had to try to figure out how I was gonna take care of my little sister, my little brother. I could relate to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I've been there.
Let's talk about it. Talk about it.
Like I said, I lost my father, at a young age to the penal system.
Okay.
So when my father got incarcerated when I was a young man, I really didn't have that father figure, So, he was really, for me, I felt like the provider, because when he was out here in these streets, he was the man. Yeah. And when he left, my whole world was flipped upside down. I wasn't used to, being able to just pick up the phone, hey, Dad, I need $100. Hey, Dad, I need this. It wasn't like that no more, you know what I'm saying? So I knew then I had to fend for myself, you know what I'm saying? So, thank God I had a great mother who really tried her best to make sure she kept tabs on me. Yeah. But mamas can only do so much, you know what I'm saying? I was still doing a lot of things that right to this day she had no idea I was doing, you know what I'm saying? But I was just trying to survive because I got used to a certain way of living because my daddy gave me everything. Right. So that was the thing for me. So I hit the streets running too. The moment I graduated, I gave my mom that diploma, wasn't even thinking about college, wasn't even thinking about what I was gonna do next in life. All I know is that, hey man, I gotta eat me some bread. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the streets and just started doing what I know how to do. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to survive, trying to live a lifestyle. Back then when I was coming up, it was all about style. It was all about fashion. And I'm trying to keep up with everybody else. Man, dude, he driving this and he got the nice clothes and he got the mean coat. I mean, all guys when I was that age, we wanted it too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So again, that's why I was able to relate to a lot of them young dudes in that group home. But I just used to tell them all the time that, man, that's not reality. Right. When I was younger, I thought that was reality too. It's more to life than that.
Yeah, don't we know it?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't we know it? And that's another thing that I really admire about you because, it takes a village. Yes, and we cannot do it by ourselves. So being able to know that you're transparent like that, I certainly appreciate you, especially during that journey. And not to belittle anything of what anybody's been through, but you also are a father. So talk about being a father.
Absolutely.
And not having your dad, as you were going, when you had to actually grow up, faster, when you had your own children and sons. Talk about that. How many children you got, Ralph?
I actually got 5.
5. Yes, and some grandkids, right?
Yes, I do.
How do you navigate through all of that?
And again, if you keep doing the same things that you've been doing, the old saying go, you keep getting the same results. Mm-hmm. I knew once the kids had started coming, I was like, bro, you can't be out here hustling forever. Mm-hmm. Then again, what you gonna tell your kids when they get to that certain age and then they feel like, well, hey, I want to do the same thing. I knew then, I had to grow up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I thank God for my kids. My kids really just put me on the level of trying to be a better man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still trying to get that together right to this day because I don't think you ever get 100% of being that man. You know what I'm saying? Every day, if you're a real guy, every day before you leave off this earth, you're trying to be the best dad you can be. You're trying to be the best brother you could be. You're trying to be the best son you could be if you're a man of character.
That's right. That's right.
So my kids most definitely was impacting my life for us, changing my life around.
Oh, that's what's up. Mm-hmm. So what were some of the challenges within raising, your children that as they're older now, that maybe they're facing different challenges and how have you been an impact for them to support them and the things that they're dealing with in life?
Because they know my journey. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. They know when their daddy was younger. They know I wasn't always present as I should have been. And they know I was out here trying to get it, you know what I'm saying? And even though I was trying to hand it to them, just like my daddy was handing it to me, I just realized that I was giving them the same message that he was giving me, like money growing trees. And I realized that I shouldn't have been teaching them that. I should have been showing them, look, if you go to work, you work hard and you set goals for yourself and you do this and you do that, so I just realized over time that I needed to set real parameters with them. And now, like I said, that's what changed my whole direction because I realized that you started that same trend that your daddy was doing with you. Yeah. Because it was nothing for me to call my dad, hey man, I need this, I need that. I'm just thinking back when Adidas jogging suits came out. Yeah. Man, I probably had every color it was. I had the Kango hats, the matching tennis shoes with the big lace. I'm just saying because my father provided that. Right. So I never really had to work for anything. I just felt like maybe he should have said, son, go cut the grass or go take out the trash or go, I would have appreciated it more. So that's why I said I do think that, even though you may have it sometimes, we shouldn't just hand everything to our kids. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? We should most definitely make them work for it because they appreciate it a lot more.
So what about, has there been any situations in your life where there was struggle? And during that struggle, how did you cope with that struggle as being a man?
Oh, absolutely. It was a whole lot of times that I dealt with struggle, you know what I'm saying? And just, you just got to keep pushing, man. And I tell people all the time, you can't do it. You can't go through this life by yourself. If you think you can, you're sadly mistaken. You need somebody you can depend on. You need somebody you can trust, and you most definitely need a relationship with Jesus Christ. Because I promise you, it was a whole lot of times that I was on my knees because I didn't know how I was going to do X, Y, Z for my kids, and I didn't want to go back to the street life. You know what I'm saying? I knew I wanted better for them. I knew I wanted better for myself. So, you know, life is hard.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say you got to stay prayed up and you got to keep pushing. But, you know, it ain't no real, what's the word I'm looking for, solution to dealing with being in a situation where sometimes you don't have. You know what I'm saying? You just got to just keep your mindset straight and focused, and you just got to keep pushing and keep doing the right things. God will provide.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so with being a husband, how has that been like for you, you know, as far as being a husband and navigating, I think, you know, as far as a blended family? Can you talk to us about that?
Again, that's growth too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, like right now I'm married, but this is not my first marriage. So, you know, again, you go through, you growing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I made a lot of mistakes along the way. You know, well, sometimes in life we think because we provide for our wives that we're an excellent husband. No, it's more to that. You know what I'm saying? There's more to that. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of compromise. It's a lot of ups and downs. It's a lot of, you know, a lot of people, I always tell people all the time, when you get married, you always hear for, you know, better, for worse. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people just hear the better. You know what I'm saying? For, you know, so when they talk about health, you know what I'm saying, they find as long as you're healthy, but what happens when the other individual's not healthy anymore?
Right.
You know, it's a lot of things in marriage that people don't think about. Those vows are serious.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I said, even though I've been married in the past, I didn't always, you know, take my vows as serious as I should have. So like I said, that was a learning process as well.
Yeah, and it's a different person.
Absolutely.
So everybody's different,
Absolutely.
you know, when it comes to that. So even though you were married, you know, with one lady, you know, her wants and needs are a lot of times different than, you know, your current, you know, wife.
Absolutely.
And so being able to recognize that and knowing who you are as a man, right? And knowing who you ain't.
Right, absolutely.
We talk about that all the time. I think that's so important. And especially when we're talking about, you know, mental health, there's a lot of times that I notice that a lot of men suppress a lot of things, you know, that happen because they feel like they don't have someone to talk to, or, you know, can you talk to me about how do you how do you cope with things that when life does get hard and, you know, you still have a family that is dependent upon you? Like, what are some things that you do as far as to cope with those things?
Pray. That's what I'm saying. Pray. Because again, life does not come with a book of, you know what I'm saying, a book of instructions. You just learn as you go, and you just hope that you got people on your team that you could pick up the phone and call, you know. And in fact, you know, matter of fact, we talking about friendship, with you being a great friend of mine, you know, it's nothing for me to pick up the phone and call you and say, Daniel, I'm dealing with a situation, man. You know, sometimes we just need a word, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes we just need positive people around us. And I tell anybody, if you don't have positive friends, you need to get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? You need some positive people on your team, because there's going to be some times in life you need somebody to talk to. Seriously.
Absolutely.
You need somebody to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, we have a lot of history, and we do talk a lot, especially with the things that go on within our lives. And it's always good to have a platonic friend of the different gender, because it really kind of gives you a good level, you know what I'm saying, to kind of measure yourself and being able to self-reflect to say, am I too hard? You know, am I being too hard in this situation?
That's true.
Do I need to pull back? You know, I'm an advocate, you know what I'm saying, for the women. You know, I'm going to always do that. But I also look at it where it's not a biased thing too, but for the men as well. And I feel like, you know, once we are able to learn how to communicate and support each other, you know, masculinity is it has a rainbow of things, you know, it means a rainbow, but it's also, I believe, your experience and what you what you go through and how you adapt and how you handle, you know, those things.
Absolutely.
So, and just, you know, being able to embrace different moments, being able to, you know, take accountability.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
But let's talk about like history though. You know, has there been times where, you know, through your journey, especially with, you know, your father not being present, that who taught you besides, you know, when your dad wasn't there to be a man, besides like the streets and things like that? What made you transition or your growth? Can you talk about, you know, a relevant person or someone that, you know, you looked up to that kind of helped navigate it and coach you to the man that you are today?
I honestly have to say it was just life experiences for me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Just life lessons. You know, if you don't learn something as you going through this world, then again, I feel like you ain't even fit to be living. You know what I'm saying? Because life is gonna throw you a curveball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Life sometimes gonna hit you in the stomach.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't take what you've been through and grow from that, then like I said, I don't even see how you can make it in this world, you know what I'm saying, without having trials and tribulations, because they're going to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times for me, it was always, again, I thank God I always had good people in my life, man.
Yeah.
I had people praying for me sometimes I didn't even know was praying for me, you know what I'm saying? So again, that's what got me through, you know, and then me, you know, being a part of church, you know, different churches and different organizations and whatnot, that helped me along the way too, because I met a lot of cool cats. So every time when I had those moments, I knew I could pick up the phone and call Deacon so and so, or I could call Brother so and so, or Minister so and so. You know, so that helped me out big time. So again, you got to reach for that higher power, man. You just cannot do it by yourself. You just can't.
That's good.
And I'm gonna keep on preaching that.
Yeah, that's good. So is there anything that you would like to say as far as someone that feels like they're by themselves, besides, you know, praying? Because a lot of times we talk about prayer, right? But then what about those people that may not have that relationship and they're dealing with real life situations where, you know, okay, it's great to pray, right?
Right.
But, you know, in that moment, we need some solutions. We need some answers.
Absolutely.
You know, and life is not going to stop.
Absolutely.
You know, to wait on that. So, you know, I like to talk about that because a lot of times, you know, and it's, you know, I'm a God-fearing woman,
Right.
you know. But I think also sometimes within churches, we don't address a lot of the issues that kind of suppress, you know, our families or what's really happening, like the traumas and things that are behind what we go through, and where somebody needs to hear some real conversation, or they need to hear some real answers to help them make a decision. You know, would you, you know, agree with that?
Most definitely. You know, like I said, you know, you just have to just take everything for, you know, for what it is. You know what I'm saying? No matter what the situation is, no matter how hard it may look, there's resources out there. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to get help for whatever situation you may be going through, there's resources out there. You just got to be willing to ask for help. And a lot of times, especially for the black man, I feel like that's our problem a lot of times, because our pride get in the way.
Ooh, say it.
You know what I'm saying? We don't always want to ask for help because then we look weak. You know, I got to reach out to brother so and say, hey bro, I ain't even able to pay my light bill this week, man. I got a whole family over here, man, and our lights might get cut out. You know, it's embarrassing for a brother. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we just be like, man, I'll figure this thing out. And while you over here trying to figure it out, the lights out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to, first of all, we got to let that pride go.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost. And like I said, there's resources out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're willing to get those resources. And there's people out here that really help you.
Yeah.
Again, you just got to be willing to talk.
Yeah.
You just got to be willing to talk. And of course, you know, I want to tell anybody, make sure you're talking to the right person.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, some people are out here, they looking for your downfall.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so, you know, you got
true.
those type of people out here too. So just making sure when you're reaching out to certain resources or trying to talk to certain individuals, just making sure you pray about it first and then ask God to give you the direction to be able to reach out to the right people.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's real good. So as we wrap it up, you know, again, I'm very passionate about mental health, you know, of course, and being able to have our men, like you said, you know, they suppress a lot of things. And, you know, we just need our men to be healthy, you know, especially for, you know, our families, and making sure that they feel like they do have someone to talk to, because there's so much that's going on. So much that's going on. And I just really believe that if our men, you know, you guys have a safe place that you can talk through some things, and just not that someone may respond to it, but just to get it out. Besides praying, what are some other things that you like to do that kind of, you know, maybe meditation, or that kind of helps, you know, releases the stressors of the world that you deal with?
I used to have an organization, and I'm really thinking about, you know, starting it back up, and it was called Brothers Building Brothers.
Okay.
And within that organization, that's what I'm saying. I try to create a safe environment and a safe platform where brothers could call each other, we could talk to each other, we going through whatever, whether it may be with your wife, whether it may be with your kids, but see, it was brothers within that circle, brothers building brothers. We was building a trust, you know what I'm saying? When you building that trust and you building that bond, then I don't have to worry about my brother over here calling me or trying to, you know, say something negative or what, because I know it was a love in that circle.
Yeah.
So again, that's why I'm saying that Brothers Building Brothers was a great organization, and like I said, I got to get back to it, because at the time when I started that organization, I didn't have a lot of resources that I needed to keep that organization going.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like the fund and the things that you need, you know what I'm saying, to keep any organization going. But for the most part, you know, I feel like that was the platform for me at that time when I was going through what I was going through. And like I said, even if it was with the home front, I could pick up the phone and call my brother and say, bro, I got a situation. Man, I need you to, you know what I'm saying? And he'd be like, okay, cool. You want me to pull up on you and chop it up, or you want to meet somewhere? Again, you need that. So again, I'm going to say the same thing over and over. You got to create a platform for people to be able to come and talk. You got to make sure that you connecting with the right people. You got to make sure you got the right people in your circle. All that goes hand in hand. And find your church home. All that goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Ralph.
Not a problem.
You know, it never stops here, but we're just sharing, you know, with the world, you know, some of our conversations.
Yes, ma'am.
I really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
And I hope that that organization gets back started. And you never know,
what God got for me.
That's right.
What God got for me is for me.
That's absolutely correct. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
And we are out. Until next time, guys.
Peace.
Bye-bye.